somebody like you love yourself. Say, baby, I'm tired, baby, I'm tired, baby, you got so much to learn, you got respect to earn.
Our Torah portion for this week is Parshat Vayeishev. And with this portion we begin the story of the rise of Joseph. We see that Joseph gains a certain prominence, almost to the point of being a fourth patriarch in Judaism. But there is a story in chapter 38 that doesn't have anything directly to do with Joseph that I find rather interesting. It has to do with Joseph's brother Judah, and an episode with between Judah and his daughter-in-law Tamar. In chapter 38 we read that Judah had a number of sons, two of whom had died before they had male heirs, and Judah had promised Tamar his son Shelah, and for some reason or another he refuses to allow his son to marry Tamar. And Tamar dresses up as a courtesan, and Judah comes to her and he impregnates her, and he doesn't have payment. And what he does, he leaves his signet ring, he leaves his walking stick, and a cord, a colored cord, as in lieu of payment, saying that he was going to come back later. And what happens is Tamar takes off the clothes of the courtesan. She puts on her regular clothes, and Judah comes back looking to pay this courtesan, that he doesn't know that it's actually his daughter-in-law Tamar, and to retrieve these items that he deposited with her. In the meantime, but he can't find her. No one knows what has happened to this courtesan. In the meantime, he is informed that Tamar has become pregnant, and he is outraged because in those days it was a terrible sin for a woman to be for a single woman to be impregnated, and he is ready to stone her, as was the punishment in those days for out of wedlock births in many cases. And what Tamar does is rather interesting. Tamar sends a note to her father-in-law Judah, and saying that the man who owns these particular things, those things that Judah had deposited with her, he is the man who is the father of my child. And Judah's reaction is very interesting. We read in verse 26, chapter 38. Vayaker Yehuda vayomer tzedaka mimeni ki al ken lo nataticha l'shelah. He says, it says, Judah recognized them, that is, those items that he had deposited with Tamar, and he said, "She is more righteous than I." Now that is such an interesting statement, and of course he looks after her after that. He takes responsibility for what he has done. In this day and age, when so many of our leaders avoid taking responsibility for anything that they do, this is refreshing. We see that Judah, a man who could very easily have allowed Tamar to have been burned, to have been executed for her sin, and could have very easily covered up this moral failing of his. Instead, he stands up, he takes responsibility, and he said, "This woman is more righteous than I," and he does the right thing. Wouldn't it be refreshing if more of our leading citizens, more of the leaders in our country and in our society did the same thing? I hope that you will read this week's Torah portion and come to your own conclusions. Shabbat Shalom.